And hello everyone, welcome back to the Decap. Now, today we will be doing a little bit of a speculation and I will just be talking. And it's been speculated that if the NBA resumes, it will be with a 16-team playoff seeded 1 to 16. So I'm just going to be predicting what I think would happen if that happens. Obviously it might not, but people are saying that it would be the cleanest way to come back from Corona and be the best option. So I'm going to be predicting my games. Now, starting off, the 1-seeded Milwaukee Bucks versus 16-seeded Orlando. And I think the obvious choice is Milwaukee. Orlando is just, when your second best player is Evan Fournier, you can't really expect to win a playoff series. So I have the Milwaukee Bucks winning in 5 games. Now, the 2-seeded Lakers versus the 15-seeded Brooklyn Nets. And once again, I'm going to have the Lakers winning, although I will have it being 6 games this time, so the Lakers in 6. I don't know if Kevin Durant will be back by this time, but if Kevin Durant is back, I could see this going to 7, even the Nets winning. But even if he does come back, I think the Lakers will win 6, but assuming I don't think he will, just Lakers in 6, moving on to the second round. Now, the third game is the 3-seeded Toronto Raptors versus the 14-seeded Memphis Grizzlies. And once again, I'm going to pick the higher seed and Toronto Raptors in 5 games. Now, I just think the experience will really show through. The Memphis, they have like Jonas Valanciunas, and that's really the most experience they have. Well, they have more, but their stars are Ja Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr., and they haven't experienced a playoff game, so I think it will be in 5 games, so they'll get a game, but Toronto Raptors in 5. Now, the fourth game is the Los Angeles Clippers, the 4-seeded Los Angeles Clippers versus the 13-seeded Dallas Mavericks, and I have the Clippers in 5. Luka's great. It's just Paul George, Kawhi Leonard are better, so the Clippers in 5 games. Now, the next game, 5-seeded Boston Celtics, 12-seeded Philly, and this is a hard matchup for Boston in the first round. They are the 5th seed, and this is a hard matchup, but just Philly is terrible on the road. In previous year, Boston has owned Philly in the playoffs, so that's why I'm going to be taking Boston in 6. I do think Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid will get a couple home games too, but just the 3-point shooting is not great on that team. They can't play away basketball, and as I said before, they can't beat Boston in previous years, and Boston is really meshing, so Boston in 6. Now, the next game is the 6-seeded Denver Nuggets versus the 11th-seeded Indiana Pacers. And I am going to be taking the Nuggets to win this series, but actually in 7 games. I do think the Nuggets are, every year I think they're a little overrated. Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray isn't the best duo. That's not a championship-winning duo. They definitely need more pieces. They need Michael Porter Jr. to pan out. In Indiana, with Victor Oladipo coming back, we'll be able to test them. Domantas Sabonis, Miles Turner, Victor Oladipo, Malcolm Brogdon. That definitely could win the series. And honestly, they could beat Denver and then Toronto. That's kind of an easy way to the conference finals. Well, it wouldn't really be conference, but way to the semifinals. So, but I do have the Denver Nuggets in 7 games. Now, the next game we're going to be talking about is Utah Jazz versus Houston Rockets, and I am going to be picking the upset Houston Rockets in 6 games, although I don't know if this would be considered an upset when the spread comes out, as Houston does have Russell Westbrook, James Harden, but I'm going to be picking the Rockets in 6. It's just Utah Jazz doesn't really have enough scoring. They have Donovan Mitchell, kind of it. I think Joe Ingles said he won't play when the season returns, but so I just think the scoring of Russell and James Harden will be better than the defense of Rudy and the offense of Donovan Mitchell. So Houston in 6. Now, the last first-round matchup is the OKC Thunder, 9-seeded versus the 8-seeded Miami Heat. And I think the Miami Heat will be able to handle this one with relative ease, and I think they will win in 5 games. I think the Thunder is great. They're overachieving. It's just Chris Paul will shine, but Shai Gilgeous isn't really experienced, and the rest of that team isn't very experienced, and the ones that have lost a lot in the playoffs. And I don't think Chris Paul will be able to carry them another person that, unluckily sometimes, but he just loses in the playoffs. But Miami Heat, Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, just that team is so well-rounded, and I think they will move on in 5 games. Now, moving on to the second round, we're going to be talking about the Heat once again, the 1-seeded Milwaukee Bucks versus the 8-seeded Heat. And I think this is where the Heat's run ends, and just Giannis is too good. The Bucks will win, but I have it in 7 games. And you know what? Actually, I think I'm going to change that to 6 games. The Milwaukee Bucks, they're just so good. Chris Middleton, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Eric Bledsoe. It's just that team is so good, led by Giannis, obviously. The Heat, they have Jimmy Butler, but I don't think he can shut down Giannis, and even if he does, Chris Middleton can't be guarded by anyone. Maybe Tyler Hero, but he's not the best at defense. So I definitely think that Milwaukee will win this series in 6, and the Miami Heat will be out. Now, the second round matchup is the 2-seeded Los Angeles Lakers versus the 10-seeded Houston Rockets. And I think this game will go to 7 games, but I think the Los Angeles Lakers will win this one. And just LeBron, AD are better than Russell and Harden, and that's definitely what it's going to come down to. It's going to feel like a 2v2 on the court. It's just the teams around those two duos on each team aren't very good, so it's going to come back down to a 2v2. And in that scenario, LeBron and AD are the better team, but I do think it'll go to 7. I think Harden will not be able to be stopped, maybe by LeBron, but I think LeBron might be guarding Russell Westbrook. I don't know how they'll play that matchup, but I think James Harden will not be able to be stopped in this series, but I do think the Lakers will come out with the victory. Now, the third second-round matchup is the 3-seeded Toronto Raptors versus the 6-seeded Denver Nuggets, and I think this is going to be close. Obviously, both teams aren't very talented, but they always find a way to get far in the playoffs. Kyle Lowry, Pascal versus Jamal Murray, Nikola Jokic. But I do like Toronto's surrounding core better than Denver's, so that is why I have the Toronto Raptors winning in 6. I just don't think Paul Millsap and Will Barton and Gary Harris are better than Fred VanVleet, Norman Powell, just Terrence Davis. The list goes on and on of guys that can step up for Toronto and have Marc Gasol. It's just there's so many players that can do it, and you know how Fred VanVleet is in the playoffs. So I think Toronto will win this series in 6 games and move on to play the Lakers. Now, the fourth and final second-round matchup is the 4-seeded Clippers versus the 5-seeded Boston Celtics, and I think this will be a great series. I think this will go to 7 games. This will be very low scoring. At the point guard matchup, Patrick Beverley, Kemba Walker, I think there won't be much scoring in that matchup. Shooting guard, Jaylen Brown, probably guarded by Paul George, both great defenders. They'll be able to shut each other down. Small forward, Jason Tatum, Kawhi Leonard, both great defenders, will be able to shut each other down. Center and power forward is where there's not really great players on either side of the ball. We have Gordon Hayward, who might have a great series because his matchup will likely be not Montrezl Harrell, but will likely be Marcus Morris. So I think he could take advantage of that. But just in the end, the star power of the Clippers, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George. Kawhi Leonard will show up. It's not the regular season anymore. He's going to try, which I don't know if that happened all regular season. But I think the Clippers will win in 7. It will be a close fought-out series, but the Clippers will move on to play the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, once again, we're going to be jumping right into the Clippers again. So, in this, we have the 1-seeded Milwaukee Bucks versus the 4-seeded Clippers, and on the other side, we have the 2-seeded Los Angeles Lakers, 3-seeded Toronto Raptors. And yes, it is 1 through 4, but I definitely think that just the Milwaukee Bucks, Lakers, and Clippers are too dominant to lose in leading up to the semifinals. The Toronto Raptors definitely could. I can even see Indiana making the semifinals, as if this were to happen, the lower right side, the 6, 11, 14, 3, I can see any of them making it out. Maybe not Memphis, but the Denver, Indiana, Toronto, they're both, I would say, about the same. So, but I do think Toronto, just the well-roundedness, Pascal, Kyle Lowry will get them. But yeah, I think the Lakers versus Toronto will not be as great of a series. So let's jump into my predictions. 1-seeded Milwaukee Bucks versus 4-seeded Clippers. And I am going to have the Clippers winning. I just feel like Kawhi Leonard will be able to shut down Giannis, and Paul George will be able to shut down Chris Middleton. And besides that, Montrezl Harrell, Lou Will, they won't be. No one on really the Bucks can guard them. Maybe Eric Bledsoe can shut down Patrick Beverly, and then Lou Will off the bench. But then I feel like this could be Montrezl Harrell's series in, because they don't really have a center to guard him. But I think the Clippers will win this series. I think it will be moved to 7. Will be put to 7 games, as they are both extremely talented with great star power. But I do think the Clippers will move on to the NBA Finals. Now on the other side, I think this will be relatively easy series for the Lakers. I think they will win in 5 games versus the Toronto Raptors. The Toronto Raptors won't have any answer for LeBron James. Who's going to guard them? Kyle Lowry? He's so much smaller than LeBron. He can posterize him. LeBron can. Anthony Davis might be able to be shut down by Pascal, but no one can guard LeBron, and the Lakers are going to win this series in 5. And yes, I do think in this scenario there will be an LA matchup in the finals. This would be so fun. Like, I'm not from LA, but there would be fights in the streets. I don't know, but LA fans and Clippers they love their teams, so this would be such an intense series. And I don't like the Clippers as much as I like the Lakers, and I think the Lakers will win in 7 games. I think this series will be one of the best. I think that this NBA Finals would be one of the best in NBA history. I think it would go back and forth. Kawhi, Paul George, Anthony Davis, LeBron James. Obviously, the Clippers have a better supporting cast, but the Lakers have a better duo. And I think the Lakers are going to win it in 7 games. I just feel like, I've said this before, I think in the start bench cut, but just in the NBA, it comes down to a 2-3-man game in the end of the finals. In the 2016 finals, Golden State Warriors, Cleveland Cavaliers, it came down to Kyrie and LeBron versus Steph and Clay mostly, I would say. I don't know. But, yeah, and I do think the Lakers will win in 7 games. And LeBron will get another ring, and people might start calling him the GOAT, like not even a question in their mind. But I just think the Clippers, Paul George won't show up as much. He really has been taking a backseat. He won't show up. Kawhi Leonard will show up, but he'll just fail to the better NBA player. And I think the Lakers will win the NBA Finals. Now, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you come back and watch more. Comment what you agree or disagree with. And peace.